Hello Mansfield, welcome to Talk It Out with Stanley Psychology, a segment where we provide mental health tips, tricks, and education. My name is Veronica Guerrero-Kwan, and I'm a licensed therapist with Stanley Psychology. Today we're going to talk about OCD stereotypes and myths. I'm going to quickly debunk 3 myths that are very common regarding OCD. Myth number 1, OCD is all about being tidy and being clean. I think that OCD gets a bad rap for that, and OCD is so much more than that for so many people. Yes, some people struggle with contamination OCD and fears of getting sick, but for a lot of people, OCD is about other fears, like fear of getting diseases or relationship anxiety or anxiety related to their morality. So it can really be about any topic. Myth number 2, people with OCD can just get over it if they tried hard enough. Not true. So it can be true that some people can resist compulsions if they tried really hard doing so, but they would probably have a lot of anxiety when doing that. And not only that, if they successfully did that for a period of time, they might still struggle with the anxiety related to the obsessions that's fueling it in the first place. Myth number 3, everyone's a little OCD sometimes. Not a fan of that phrase because we're often saying that to refer to someone's inclination to be clean, neat, or organized, and we're not referring to the actual mental health disorder that is OCD. So I'm going to break down what OCD actually is. OCD is comprised of obsessions and or compulsions. Obsessions are intrusive thoughts, images, urges, or ideas that are really distressing, really anxiety-provoking for the individual, and oftentimes is contrary to their value system or belief system. The compulsions are mental acts or physical acts the person does trying to neutralize the anxiety and trying to feel more at ease. And so I'm going to give an example to really paint this out, illustrate what this can look like. Let's say I'm a person with OCD and my obsessions are primarily about fear of harming myself or fear of harming other people. And let's say I'm driving home from work, I'm commuting, and I drive over a speed bump and I freak out. I have the intrusive image of me having run over somebody and I can't shake it. I can't shake the anxiety. It's stressing me out. And I'm like, you know what? I just got to make sure I didn't run over someone. So I'm going to compulsively turn around and maybe do a couple laps around the block, making sure there's no bodies on the road, there's no one limping off the side of the road. And, that's one example. I can come up with many. But the point here is that obsessions can be really distressing, really hard to ignore, and compulsions are the person's attempts to feel better about the situation. And it can be very time-consuming and it can interfere with their quality of life. The good news is that there is successful treatment with treating OCD. There's 2 primary modalities that are really well known in the OCD community. One targets the compulsions, and it's called exposure and response prevention. That targets the compulsions by challenging a person through therapy to be in the situations where they would be triggered by their obsessive doubt, but challenging them to not engage in the compulsions so that they build the tolerance to the anxiety and realize that they don't need the compulsions to feel safe. The other modality is called Inference-Based Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. It's such a mouthful, but it targets the obsessions by addressing the reasoning happening behind the obsessions and the story that OCD is telling the person. And we help the person realize that there is other ways of interpreting reality outside of the OCD story, and that freedom from the OCD story is possible. So if you're struggling or someone else you know is struggling, I really encourage you to reach out to a therapist who is specializing in OCD. You deserve freedom. You deserve a life where you can actually enjoy. So I'm Veronica Guerrero-Kwan. You can follow me at Sit with Veronica on Instagram. I also work at Stanley Psychology. Thank you so much for tuning in today at Talk It Out with Stanley Psychology. We'll talk to you soon.